Wishes by Frank Segura. Chapter 0. Recognition. It felt like a dream, more like an epiphany of things that could have happened. I was walking to the old hideout me and my kid brother used to crash at. It was a quick jump across the riverbed and down by the old crazy family that listened to death metal and practiced witchcraft. I remember even hearing stories of the park across the hideout that was rumored to be haunted. In the dead of night, I could always hear the crickets chirping like a movie-style orchestra. Loud and booming chirps and bullfrog croaks surrounded the place like Dad's old stereo system. I always wondered why we never saw any homeless people sleeping around our hideout. I mean, graffiti would sometimes be there, and one time we found weird ritual symbols around the roof. Still no visitors, no bugs, no squirrels, no birds. It was a creepy graveyard-style area that spooked every hermit or drug addict away for miles. It was ours, and we loved it. As I checked the 4-foot opening where we would swoop into like a slide at the playground, I realized that there was no opening. Only broken chunks of cinder blocks and rubble. I guess some vandals must have smashed it so that no one could get through. But I wasn't 12 years old anymore. I had more strength than most 17-year-olds, thanks to gym class. I made enough room to see down the long pipe-sloped hallway that would take us a good 20 seconds of crawling to get to the end. I pulled out my flashlight to get an even better view. I moved most of the cement chunks out of the way, cautiously in the dim light. As I leaned forward more trying to fit, I soon realized that I had grown too large to even get my shoulders in any way I could try. In a split second, I suddenly felt this cold hand being placed on my right shoulder, cold as a snowball slapping your skin. I turned my head and my flashlight to the right to figure out what had touched me. Not a single sound was made, nor a single person could be seen. I held my shoulder with my left hand and wondered if I had been stabbed or something worse. I felt no pain and lost the sensation of the freezing temperature I once felt a few seconds earlier. I knew what I had felt. I had felt a child's hand. It was my little brother's hand. As I tried to make sense of things, I had that memory flash back in my mind again. So vivid this time, and so fast like a roller coaster at full speed. We were laughing, telling jokes, singing, and going on about how many places we'll get to see when we get older. I started to remember every word like it was happening right at this moment. "Come on, Mikey, you can't be serious," my kid brother would complain. "I am as serious as a heart attack," I'd tell him, ever so. "I mean, how can you sit there and tell me that you are going to invent wings for every man, woman, and child on the planet? That would take too much money." "Well, my kid brother, you have to have vision. You have to have theory. And you have to have way too many Slurpees mixed with those Pop Rocks. Mom was right. Those chemicals with the sugar can really mess you up." He was interrupting me as usual. "Well, if you want to be a part of this multi-gazillion-dollar industry that I am going to be president of one day, then I could hire you." "Really?" My little bro was so amazed and in wonder, I knew I had him on the edge of his little pillowed seat. "Sure, if you like working for candy, Pop Rocks, and chewing gum." I thought he would get pissed, shrug his shoulders, and start flinging pebbles at me. "Well, I don't know. Well, can you make it like a lifetime supply of soda instead?" I froze. I couldn't believe it. My 9-year-old kid bro was the worst negotiator in the world. I would have, well, I'd have to say that sounds good, but we better make it just diet soda pop. I wouldn't want you to go dying on me or something a couple years later. I want to keep you healthy. I had the biggest grin ever that night. "You know what, Mikey? On second thought, how about I just be your producer? I mean, no one else will spend good money on the dumbest idea of the century." Just as he yelled out the last words of the century, my keen smart mouth bro picked up as many rocks as he could from all the dirt around him and flung them right in my face. I ducked and weaved, but he kept flicking more at my chest and arms. They were too small for me to get mad, so we just laughed it off. "Yeah, I know. But, you would have been my best employee and only employee. So I told you my idea. Now, what's your incredible invention, Mr. Producer of Nickels and Dimes? I couldn't wait to hear what he was going to conjure up of some make-believe idea that was obviously dumber than mine. He sat there in front of me looking as if he was almost reading out his thoughts. I was about to ask him again the same question when, like a strike of lightning, he totally gave me a strange and possessed look. An attitude that I've never seen from my bro. It felt like he was meeting me for the first time. I want to grant wishes, he stated without any hint of doubt. You mean like a genie? This conversation is getting weirder, I thought. More like a giver, a keeper of requests, or like a dream maker. I thought he was joking around, but with every word he would gaze even more sincerely into my eyes. I thought he was about to start cracking up and laugh hysterically, but he continued with a strange report. I want to tell people that it's okay to believe in your dreams as long as you tell me what they are. I will gladly grant all their desires for a fee. I could tell right away that something was wrong. My kid bro doesn't talk like this. He doesn't know how to deal with money. He flunked the same math test 3 times just last week. I thought, let's just play along and pretend that he knows what he's talking about. A fee, you say? Oh, what kind of fee? I was getting concerned because he would move his head to think, but never let his eyes upon me. My kid bro started to seem more like this classmate I knew around my age. They tried to bully me out of $5 last week, just for sport. A priceless fee. Now I have a question for you. Well, we both know who you are, but tell me more of what you are not. My kid brother didn't stutter, and he didn't have his typical nervous voice as usual. The glare in his eyes reminded me of a man that was on the run. I heard about him in the news last week. A lot of things that happened last week, now that I think about it. There were the same eyes from the picture on TV. He closed his hands together and crossed his fingers, all while never losing sight of my concerned pupils. I guess I'm not your brother tonight, am I? I stated, thinking maybe he was being possessed, but I also knew in the back of my mind he was totally joking around. We are brothers. We're all brothers. Now tell me what you are not, and then maybe we can come to some sort of an arrangement. My not-so-kid brother insisted on an answer. I was getting upset. Still, my curiosity got the best of me, and I wanted to know what this fee he was talking about. I'm not a superhero. I'm not a ladies' man. I'm not the Tooth Fairy. And I'm not some slappy-happy Peter Pan. I started busting up laughing. But I am a pretty good rhymer. I smiled and he didn't even smirk. Slowly he cocked his head to the right of his shoulders, almost as if to relax and do a neck stretch. I could see that we were lost touch with this conversation. You have a foolish tendency for brash humor. My brother retorted and then slowly leaned his head to the left side of his shoulders. The vocabulary of my little bro was reminding me of a school counselor I once chatted with. I was really freaking out at this point. Can we please get down to the business proposition at hand? He spoke with words I knew that I had a feeling I wasn't speaking to him. I began to wish that maybe there was something in that slurpee we drank. Tell me your name, O wise one. I wanted to be funny to lighten up the sinister interview. A name is only as great as the position one holds in life and in death. The young wizard tells me with a raised eyebrow to keep me engaged in the awkward conversation. I was at a loss for words, so I gave myself no choice but to answer him.